aficionados, welcome back to Draft Chaff. I'm Ben, your host. This is episode 198, and today we're first picking a very good card. It's an Ancestral Recall. Look, this is Vintage Cube. I couldn't be any happier. I mean, Time Walk, maybe Soul Ring, but no, I love Ancestral. In this pack, Tinker stands out, Flooded Strand stands out. That's kinda it. I mean, Inverter, I haven't seen this one back. Same with that Berserk. I haven't actually played this iteration of the cube yet. This is my first dive into it. And look, we're in the lull between sets, right? The lull between Murders at Karlov Manor. I got it. And between Outlaws at Thunder Junction. We've got some news about Thunder Junction coming up. But for now, let's just slam Ancestral and see where this goes. Now, what's on Vector with Ancestral? Well, busted stuff. First picking an Ancestral, I want to find ways to get it, right? Like, there are ways to copy it, ways to flash it back, like Snapcaster Mage, something like, someone that goes and gets a 2 or less drop. Spellseeker, that's the one. Or other ways to tutor out my Ancestral. But at the same time, I'm sort of trying to do the most busted thing I can, given that this will enable busted strategies that aren't otherwise enabled. Vintage Cube is all about cheating, right? And Ancestral Recall lets you cheat on card advantage. Another card that sort of lets you do that is Time Spiral. I'm a sucker for Time Spiral. I could take Pest Infestation, Counterspell here. I think Counterspell or Pest Infestation are the safe picks. Daze is pretty good, Noble's pretty good. But look, I mean, come on. I'm slamming the Time Spiral here, trying to do something wacky. Okay, a little bit punished by that. Probably should have just taken the Counterspell. I could take a Lotus Cobra here. Unexpectedly Absent. Go for like a blue-white control. Fiery Confluence is good. I could just go with Git Probe. You know, make sure I'm not going to get my Ancestral counterspelled or something. There's nothing here that really goes with this Vector that well. This is the pack where I'd love to see a fetch land. I would just slam a fetch land here. All right. Gitaxian Probe it is. I could go for a second draw 3 and Treasure Cruise. We all the Forgotten. That's interesting. Renin Realmbreaker. Could go with the Rafine's Tower. I'm going to want to try to find some draw 7 payoffs for this Time Spiral. This one lets me untap all my lands, so lands that tap for multiple mana as well. Something like Tolarian Academy comes to mind, or any of the tapped Lotus lands that tap for 3 but make you sack 2 lands. Those are pretty good with Time Spiral as well. Ugh. I mean, maybe just Rafine's Tower here. It's not looking like mono red or mono white are super open. We're seeing some nonsense flowing through. Honestly, we're putting a lot of spells in the graveyard. Let's just take a Treasure Cruise, right? If I want to draw 3 cards once, I probably want to draw 3 cards again. Whoa. Insidious Roots. That's kind of sick. Here, I think I'm just going to take the Teferi, though. If I'm doing a big blue, maybe I'm just blue-white control. I could be like a blue-white tempo-y Chianzi thing. Pilgrim is good acceleration. Basking Root Wall is kind of funny. What is Insidious Roots doing here? I guess it's good with the Delve cards. I saw Hooting Mandrills was in the previous pack, and I might have seen a Tassiger earlier, too. Nah. Teferi it is. Okay. I like Glimmer Lens. This is good card advantage. Oh, Inti is pretty sick, though. I don't know what this card does. You cast a spell for X on that. Some kind of busted D&D Commander-ish card. That seems good, though. Pretty far away from what we're doing mana-wise. Sharp-Eyed Rookie, that's funny. Could take a Pestermite. I don't know. Probably between Glimmer Lens, Selfless Spirit, and Inti. Inti's just so good. But this is pretty aggressive. I don't really like the twin stuff. I think it's pretty finicky getting it to come together proper. Let's just take Inti. I think it's the best card in the pack. Okay, well, I can't really pass a Spellseeker if I have Ancestral. I would like to take the Skyclave or the Sunfall here. It seems like a blue-white control-ish Vector might be open. Spell Pierce is really strong too, but Spellseeker, if I could pick up a nice counterspell, maybe that literal counterspell is going to wheel. We're almost at our wheel. Nah, I just got to slam the Spellseeker here. I mean, just drawing 3 cards for 1 mana. It's just so good. What is this? Delve. Ooh. It's kind of like a Snapcaster Mage. This gets back my Ancestral, doesn't it? It does exile it, but brings it back. Yeah, it doesn't copy and cast. No, I think I'll try the Forge route. I never cast this card before. Why? Oh, yeah, that's some commander card. Feels a little impure having commander cards in Cube, but hey, you know, that's what it is. Inverter Truth is kind of funny. I guess there's some inverter combo. Well, I guess with Thassa's Oracle, you can just combo off there. Huh. The counterspell didn't wheel. A little disappointing. Not surprising we're fighting someone for blue cards, but, you know, what fun would it be if the draft was that easy? Let's just slam the Elite Spellbinder here. I don't love any of these other things here. It's kind of like a red-green stompy deck that's being passed around. Huh. Okay, land stuff is open. Omnath, W6. Could take an Adversary. Could take Galvanic Iteration, try to copy my Ancestral. It's kind of funny. I'm just going to take an Oliphant. If I wind up with like Jeskai control sort of things, then maybe I get like the Ketria Triome. That was the Hooting Mandrills. I don't think I'm going to play any card in this pack. Could take Bitter Reunion. Maybe I become some sort of Flash Reanimate style, but Spell Seeking for that doesn't seem like it's happening. Black has been pretty cut too. None of these cards seem that playable. I'm just going to take a Bitter Reunion for the side. Well, not really anything here. Guess I'll take a Lean and Relic Order. I guess I could take a Magda. Magda is a strong card. Yeah, why not? Take a red-white land in case I somehow wind up in that. Glimmerlens came back. I almost took that last time. That's interesting. Guess I'll take a Glimmerlens then and become immense. Okay, this pack not quite as busted as my last one. What's going on here? Here we go. Screen cap's going wacky. Screen cap, what's up with you, buddy? All right. Definitely not quite as busted, but if we're in some sort of Jeskai control-ish thing, we got a 4th Aerlingus. I'd like to get some big mana for this. Maybe a way to tap for multiple mana in one turn. Maybe a High Tide, bunch of islands to pair with my Time Spiral into 4th. That seems pretty sick. Jace is good, Skydiver's good, Birds is good, Desk and a Braid. Dismember's pretty good. I'm low on removal. I'll need to pick up some interaction at some point, but 4th Aerlingus interacts with your opponent in that it kills them. Okay, well, here's a pack. We've got Volcanic, Fountain, True Name, Show and Tell. There's that twin for whoever took the Twin and Deceiver Exarch. So I guess it was Pestermite that went around earlier. I kind of see Pestermite and Deceiver just interchangeably. I think we'll probably take some fixing here. There's no good kill spells, and this isn't a Show and Tell deck. Oh, this become immense. Get in the sideboard. Get out of here, man. Yeah, Oliphant can go get Volcanic, but it can't get Hallowed Fountain, so I'm leaning towards the Volcanic because it's a mountain. Novice Inspector, nice. I've heard this card's pretty busted. Legolas is Quick Reflexes. Another commander card that I'd... Look, if I haven't drafted it in a standard legal set, I probably don't know what it does. Hexproof Reach, whenever it becomes tapped. Okay. Split second on top of all that. Not a Zerda deck. Someone is cutting artifacts, right? We haven't seen any big artifact stuff, so we're sort of just going Jeskai control. That's fine. We have Ancestral, but this means we want to pair it with cheap stuff that interacts 1-for-1, so we'll be looking for stuff like Lightning Bolt, Swords, Path, that sort of card. Let's take Volcanic here. Or we could try to do something busted. I mean, LED Displacer Kitten. Oh, but there's a Swords. I just said Swords would be a good pickup. All right. Look, I'm not trying to get too fancy. I can tutor for Swords off Spellseeker. Leaving it up with Teferi is good. It's a cheap thing that puts cards in the graveyard early for Ethereal Forager and Treasure Cruise. Might even hope to wield this Talisman. Pretty good with 4th Air Lingus and my big Delve spells. I am also looking to put stuff in the graveyard. Alternate Dementia, that's interesting. There's probably combos of that I don't understand. Displacer Kitten and LED. These are fun cards, but I don't think we're trying to do that this time. Take the swords and be happy with it. Well, some good cards here. Stern Scolding, Murktide Regent. We already have some big Delve payoffs, and you can't play that many Delve cards. They sort of fight against each other, especially in a deck like this where I'm not really playing into the graveyard. I don't have self-mill or anything like that. We do need some early interaction. This might be a Stern Scolding pick here. Although I do like City of Traders. Thing is, 1 mana interaction becomes so good with Ancestral. Plus, it's good with Ancestral in that I could just leave up 1 mana on turn 1. Pass. If they play a Birds of Paradise or a Mana Elf or something, I counter it, untap, draw 3. Otherwise, I just draw 3. And then I'm probably in pretty good shape. But I do want a City of Traders type effect. These sort of lands are good with things like Teferi. You can untap it, make 1 million mana. Good with my big Delve cards too. But I think I'm going to take the Stern Scolding here. Time Warp is interesting. Cascade Bluffs, Seasoned Pyro. Not really focused on creatures on the board. I think I may just go with the Cascade Bluffs. I need a little bit more fixing. Right now I just have 2 lands, no fetches. Dog Detective, what is this? ETB Surveil 2, whenever opponent draws a second card each turn, return from graveyard to hand. That's kind of cool. Time Warp. Yeah, I like Time Warp with Planeswalkers and things like Spellseeker and Magda and Inti. I think I just need better mana, though. This isn't super Coalition Relic type deck either. Oh, there's a Samwise. If I had a fetch, I'd probably take the Samwise, but let's go Cascade Bluffs. Not the best fixing, but it's what it is. Ooh. Hold up. Got some action here. Talisman, Memory Jar. There's a Sneak Attack. We haven't seen any big beefers, but we could. I like Resto of Aganjo, too. Same with Cathar Commando. This deck does need mana. It needs fixing. It needs to slam these big top-end cards, though. You know, curve something like a Magda into a Teferi or a Talisman into Teferi. And we haven't seen any other draw 7 payoffs. In this deck, we'll be looking for Narset in particular because it's blue. I would probably splash an Orcish Bowmasters. I probably wouldn't do anything else. I mean, this would be our second draw 7. Memory Jar is kind of mid, though. I'm going to take Talisman. All right, so much for Sneak. There's a Grizzlebrand. That would have been pretty cool. Oh, that's a cute card. I've never seen this card before. Mental Note. Judgment. 1 mana, mill 2, draw a card. Honestly, I see what they're doing with this Delve package. It kind of seems perfect. This is a Mountain Plains, but we already have an Inspiring Vantage. It would allow Oliphant to fetch white. But I don't really need the green. Sunbait Canyon. It's a pain land. This deck is going long, so I'm not super into pain lands. At this point, we are sort of pure Jeskai, too. We're not leaning one way or the other, splashing. But we do want to be more pure blue for Ancestral. Yeah, let's try Mental Note. I'm going to mill my Ancestral, and it's going to be awesome. Something like Thought Scour. Yeah, just increase the consistency of my deck a bit. Leovold is good with Time Spiral, obviously, but this is impossible to cast for our deck right now. Our mana is not that good. Let's go with a Thought Scour. Okay, I mean, Oust is good removal. It is 1 mana removal that pairs well with Ancestral. We're going pure control here. We're going to need a couple more finishers, but 4th, Teferi, Forager are good starts. Same with Time Spiral. Could take the Islet, but again, same deal with Painlands. I don't mind Research Desk. I'm going to go with the Oust. Wow, Splinter Twin and Deceiver Exarch Wield. I mean, we're not getting anything back. We could take the Exarch, but then we'd have to hope for Kiki, and that'd be in the next pack, and that's... Wow, all right, so everyone's off the Twin combo. No one wanted to bite. Doesn't look like Show and Tell will be good for us. Can we Companion Zerta? No. This doesn't really seem like a pick that's worth anything. I guess I'll take a Karizev. I mean, Talisman came back. So did Displacer Kitten. We are casting a lot of low mana value permanents, but this is better with Mana Rocks. You're trying to flicker stuff like Mana Vault and those big tap for 3 or tap for 4 mana artifacts. I'll just take a Talisman. It's kind of like ramp. Murktide came back, but I don't actually know if we're going to play it. It's awfully similar to Forager. Okay, I mean, blue and red are pretty open. Seasoned Pyro Wheeling is something. Memory jar. Okay. Guess we get a memory jar after all, and a DRC. Could we get a Lotus? One Lotus? Lotus, please? Be pretty cool. Lotus into Teferi. Lotus into fourth. Tell you what, I'll settle for a Mox. We're in 3 colors. I'll settle for an on-color Mox. All right, Moto. I applied for that Magic Online content creator program. All right. Now that they have shown their disfavor with me. No Mox. Probably just going to take a Steam Vents here. I have Breach, which is kind of cool with some of my self-mill stuff. But I'm not doing something busted. We could pick up a Lotus Petal, but didn't Lion's Eye Diamond already pass us? I think it did, right? No fetches, just shocks. Bit disappointing. Mana Tithe is kind of funny. Colonnade's kind of good. I'm just going pure Jeskai mana here, though. Rona, maybe we'll wheel. I'd play that. Same, maybe not Showdown. Chalice. I'll just take a Steam Vents. It's good mana. Oh, what is this thing? I have no idea what Headliner Scarlet is. 4 mana, 3/3 haste, ETB, creatures took under control. Can't block this turn. Upkeep, Exile the Tard. This reads like every single commander card to me ever. Expressive Iteration's pretty cool in this deck. We're pretty far from Cryptic. Maybe Tundra will wheel. Blue seem pretty open. Raptor, Jite, Shadow Spear. I do love Palace Jailer, but I think we just need more cheap interaction. I mean, it's vintage cube. We can't mess around. We got to take stuff that interacts early. But Palace Jailer is so good. We've kind of moved into a bit of a red direction here. I could see just splashing for the white being more base blue-red. We're definitely base blue with all these things. We're going to need a lot of blue sources. But Chain Lightning. We don't have any bolts yet, do we? We have a Swords and Oust. Oh, Palace Jailer making us the Monarch is just so busted. Look, I like Palace Jailer. Chain Lightning might be correct, but I'm taking the Palace Jailer here. Okay. Frantic Search. Yogg. Monarch Aspirant. We're a little far away from being pure blue-white beatdown, which I actually really like. I love Adeline. This card's so strong. We're definitely playing white. The question is, are we playing something like Seasoned Pyro, Memory Jar? Time Spiral's better if we're doing a pure control thing. We haven't picked up any lands to tap for multiple mana. I don't mind Carnosaur either. Cascade into something like Teferi or Memory Jar or Palace Jailer. That's pretty cool. Of course, we could also hit Stern Scolding. Wouldn't be the best hit in the world. Assault Monolith. We're not really doing big artifact mana stuff. Frantic Search just improves our consistency here a little bit. Can we just go blue-white? We're not really attacking with Inti and Magda. I kind of want to just lean into the blue-white, in which case Adeline maybe wheeling the Aspirant. Splashing red for the Aerolingus, that type of thing. Okay. Flash is pretty big, but we're not doing that. I like Flicker Wisp and Mom. Might just go with Mom here. So like a Jeskai Beaters type of deal. We might not play this Time Spiral. But playing little beatdown things like Magda, Inti, these things tend to trade off, which would fill our graveyard for something like Ethereal Forager or Murktide Regent. Not that exiling creatures with Murktide Regent is really what you want to do, but it's something. Anya's Ravage, whenever it attacks, discard your hand and draw 3 cards. That's sick. Kind of bad, but that's really sick. I'm just gonna go with Mother of Runes. Let's try to move into blue-white here. Channel Brainstorm. We have no fetches. Skull Clamp though. Skull Clamp Adeline. Skull Clamp Spellbinder. Skull Clamp Magda. Wins. Are we leaning back into control? I mean, you can just play Adeline in a more controlling deck. She's just an army in a can. I don't like Brainstorm with no ways to fetch. And I just have no fetch lands right now. Staff of the Storyteller. This card's pretty good. Whenever you make tokens, you put counters. I have an Adeline. I have fourth. But Skull Clamp can just be so busted when enabled. It's only really good with Adeline right now, Magda. We just don't have enough ways to use it. I'll take Staff. Leading into blue-white. Oh, there's Brain Freeze. All right, someone's going to get the whole package. That is a mad late Solitude. I'm slamming Solitude here. Big reward for moving into white. Glad we did that. Pure skill. Read the draft. Slam Solitude here. Mystical Tutor. Oh, perfect. This goes and gets my Ancestral. What can this get? Nothing else. No, I can get Time Spiral. I can get Treasure Cruise. I can get fourth. Yeah, no, this is good. I could Spellseeker for it to fill my graveyard, to cast my Delve spells. I don't mind Thraben Inspector or Werefox Bodyguard either. I'm going to get one card back here. Probably not going to be the one I want, but I would be happy with the last pick, Thraben or Werefox. Oh, here's all the cool white stuff. We got Resto, Ephemerate, Recruiter. Okay, I can Recruiter, not for Adeline. I can Recruiter for Palace Jailer, but Recruiter I like more for just like, you know, actual combo pieces. Recruiter for a value card like Inti or Magda isn't really it. Could you take a Sacred Foundry here? I mean, I have plenty of cards. I have plenty of creatures and non-creatures. I can up my mana consistency a little bit, but Ember Shieldbreaker, Resto, Ephemerate, these are all good cards too. And we're back to our real pack. Breach did come back. We're just really using our graveyard a lot. Forager, Murktide Regent is the Treasure Cruise, is these big Delve payoffs. Plus, between you and me, listener, I'm not smart enough to play Underworld Breach decks. You didn't hear that from me though. Don't tell the Discord I said that. Take Breach, put it in the sideboard. I'm a coward. Iteration came back. Would I play it in a deck like this? If I'm playing a main deck DRC, is my mana good enough to just jam all these little Jeskai beaters? Maybe. Iteration? Yeah, why not? Wow, no one wants Yawgmoth. Take a Trumpeting Carnosaur. All right. I have a soft spot for Seasoned Hallowblade. If I'm going like a blue-white beaters deck, Inti and Seasoned Hallowblade on the battlefield at the same time, that goes so hard. All right. I'll take a Demand Answers. Do I want Wrath? I could see siding in Wrath. And a Blossoming Tortoise. Okay. We got a Jeskai pile here. Gotta admit, I like it. So, what is our most important vector? To me, it does seem like being able to Spellseeker like Ancestral. And that kind of requires that I'm going to play some things like the Mystical Tutor, this package of 1-mana blue spells and white spells. So this sort of points me in a blue-white direction. I have some good blue and white cards. Honestly, what does this deck look like if I cut red and just kind of go like a blue-white, maybe splashing some red? Okay. Let's start by cutting some things that might not make it. What if I just cut some red cards here? What does this deck look like? I'm cutting all the red cards. Doesn't look bad. Probably not going to play Memory Jar in that case. And honestly, we didn't get a single payoff for Time Spiral. No lands to tap for multiple mana. But it is just so strong. It's just a free draw 7, but we're not ramping into it. We're not breaking the symmetry in any way. If you don't break symmetry with Time Spiral, you've sort of missed the point of the card, right? And honestly, it might even pay your opponent off better than you. I don't think this is a Time Spiral deck anymore. Now, is this still a Delve deck? Am I still doing this, or am I just going for a pure blue-white beaters? Palace Jailer, Solitude, Adeline, Spellbinder, Glimmerlens, Staff. What does this deck look like then? I mean, I only have 9 creatures, so I am sort of going for a little more controlling route. Then again, some things like Staff with the Storyteller and Glimmerlens, these are technically creatures. So really, I guess that's like 11, but that's still pretty low. I could go for a control deck like Wrath, Palace Jailer, ramping into it. Mystical for Wrath is pretty good. my Thought Scour. But I don't have enough creatures to call myself like a blue-white beatdown deck. So this does put me more back into the direction. Now, what if I incorporate my red cards? Especially the good aggressive ones. Inti, Magda. Yeah, DRC is good enough. I would play that. Oliphant if I'm playing red. Carnosaur. We're trying to end the game a little before that, and we're not doing anything super busted with it, but it is just good value. But hitting something like a Git probe off of it, it's just like, why did I pay 6 mana? That's not how you win a Vintage Cube. If I'm going beatdown, I probably don't want my talismans. The other stuff stays. If I'm going beatdown, something like Murktide gets worse. I'd still have this nice 4th Aer Lingus. I'm not cutting that in any case. Treasure Cruise gets a little worse if my creatures aren't dying. Something like Staff of the Storyteller and Glimmerlens, these cards don't really go to the graveyard ever, so Treasure Cruise is worse. And this is 5 lands right now. Honestly, it's a pretty low curve deck, and I have an Oliphant as a fetch land. What happens if I add basics here? Go down, go up. That's a deck right there. Yeah, that's a cool one. A nice little Jeskai aggro deck with backup from stuff like, now I've got 14 creatures, 10 non, if you're not counting Glimmerlens and Staff. My Oliphant is sort of like a fetch. My mana's a little rough, but I'll luck into it. And I have some treasure making in Magda, some manipulation and scolding, thought scour, mental note, Git probe, ancestral, and thought scour. Plus, I can always just spell seeker for one of my spells that I can cast, right? Good card advantage in Palace Jailer, Teferi as a top end, 4th Aer Lingus to hopefully just kill them sometimes. And I'm going to try out Theory of Forager. I'm playing enough instants and sorceries, these cheap blue 1-drops, that I think Forager could see some cool use, but I don't think it's enough to play the Murktide or the Treasure Cruise. Well, that right there is a deck. Now, before we get into the game, we got some stuff to talk about. All right, Outlaws of Thunder Junction coming right around the corner, rooting and tooting its way into our hearts. Pre-release is in about a week at this point. That was fast. I'm excited for this one. Before we chat about that and see some Vintage Cube, we got some housewarming to do first, the usual. Some bounty boards to go over, and then we'll jam some Vintage Cube. As a reminder, check out the Patreon. Thanks for everyone that supports us on Patreon. It really means a lot. Couldn't do this without you. Got some cool perks over there, including eventually getting our bounty boards even more juiced up with packs to be given away for free to people that just do cool stuff. More on that in a minute. And we've got some stickers in production for our patrons. Those are coming soon. Also, if you're not in the Discord, what are you doing? Go join the Discord. It's linked down in the description below. Go hop in the Discord. Don't tell them that I was too much of a coward to play that one card, but do hop in the Discord and come hang out with the rest of us Chaficionados. We always have a good chat in there. Like the hats. Now, this is part of the template that I downloaded for these cool Western slides. I just thought this was really funny. It's like a mount in this upcoming set. A picture is worth 1,000 words. It is, isn't it? Look at that horse. Yeehaw. Anyway, my Teferi this week. Some great Magic stories. I could not believe it was Allison Lur's back with Jace and Vraska lore. Unbelievable stuff. We get to find out. Well, okay, I'm not going to say it. Just go read them. I swear, even if you've been off of Magic lore for a while, you got to go check these out. It's some of the best stuff I've read on there since before March of the Machine. I could not believe it. I was in awe. Highly recommend. And honestly, makes me more excited for Magic and seeing what's going forward with the rest of the story. Spoiler cards. Having a lot of fun. I mean, some of them are nonsense, but it's modern Magic. What do you expect? I'm excited for Plot. Plot seems like a pretty cool theme. And also, there's an eclipse coming up. At least in North America, if you're listening or watching from here. So check out that eclipse. It's happening Monday, April 8th. So if that already passed, you probably heard about it. My template this week, following along with the packs. The packs of what's actually in a pack of Outlaws at Thunder Junction. There's these big score things and also these wanted things and also special guests. Is the list in this one still? I don't even know. Uh, I actually really like the play booster design. I've been liking them a lot. It reminds me of March of the Machine. But this whole big score thing, I don't really understand. Are they different rarities that are all being printed at Mythic? Does that mean they're all going to show up uncommonly, or are they all not as uncommons, but like rarely? No, not as rares, but are they all going to show up at Mythic rarity? Are they going to appear in packs infrequently? Are they in every pack? I feel like I should know this just by being able to browse the internet by now and just encounter this, but I don't really know how it works. So let me know in the comments below if you do, and let me know your Teferi and Tybalt below too. Let me know how your week is going. By the way, that eclipse next week. Remember, get those eclipse glasses. But I'm not doing this. I'm a physics and astronomy teacher, so this is my beeline to you people. Be sure you go see the eclipse. Make a pinhole camera if you need to. Poke a hole in a piece of paper, hold it over the pavement or something. You should see it projected below. And if you happen to be listening from the path of totality, please drop a picture in Discord of when it's in totality, because it's pretty sick. By the way, another note: March Chaffness has ended, and well, we have a winner. The winner of the March Chaffness bracket was the Invasion of Amonkhet, which honestly is a worthy winner. I really couldn't complain, although I kind of was rooting for Blossom Prancer, but you know. Our listener question of the week comes from Spurlow, who asks, do you like to dig through the library when a game ends? Should Arena provide the ability to dig through your library when a game ends? Personally, I try not to. Sometimes I will if there's a certain card, and maybe if I'm down to 10 cards left in my library or 5 cards left, and I know there's exactly one card that was my out. Sometimes as just like a joke, I'm curious, like, all right, where was that one out? Like, where was my one board wipe? Where was my one turn against spell? Where was my one hasty creature or my one kill spell left in the deck? Sometimes I'll check, just I'll flip the top card of the library, but I don't really go past that. Or if I'm getting super mana screwed, sometimes I'll look for fun. Just because it's statistically interesting to see a weird distribution of lands in your deck, like 10 of them right on the bottom or something. Or like 3 lands in the top 20 cards, which statistically that will happen every once in a while. Not very often. But I've definitely seen like 4 in the top, 17. That sort of thing can happen. So overall, I feel like it would be a net negative on the mental health of the community for people to be able to dig through your library after a game. I like how in Moto you can draw cards and reveal your hands. I don't know if we could handle it on Arena. All right. Bounties are up. So for murders at Karlov Manor, there are bounties in the Bounty Board section of the Discord, right? Where people could go claim their bounties just for doing cool stuff while drafting. This is something our community has really enjoyed, and, it's time for new bounties for a pretty appropriate set here in Outlaws Thunder Junction. We've got some wanted ads. So our first one here, Mount of Confusion, saddle a mount with another mount. Easy. Second, Just Desserts. Deal lethal damage using a, desert. Just Deserts, get it? Basically ping your opponent for 1 with a desert. Storm Count. Cast 5 plotted spells in 1 turn. I don't know how doable this is going to be. Maybe the format is fast enough that you can't actually do this, but I have a feeling it'll be doable. Jupiter's Claim. Let me know if you get that reference. Double trigger a land off of a Claim Jumper. That's the one that double tutors out planes. Did you know Cruel Ultimatum is in this set? I didn't. So make it an achievement just to cast Cruel Ultimatum. Desperado Measures. If you mill your opponent out using Deep Muck Desperado and then win the game from it. Snorse Remorse. There's a Snorse in this game. Caustic Bronco. It's a snake horse. End the game with Caustic Bronco either by killing you or your opponent. It's sort of like a Bob effect that can hit either player. Beep beep. Attack with a Resilient Roadrunner into a Cunning Coyote. The Roadrunner obviously has protection from the Coyote. The Coyote does not need to be untapped. I'll allow it to be tapped or untapped. What's yours is mine. We're getting into the big point values here. These are the top bounties, 15 points apiece. Steal 3 permanents with Ariete Beguiler in 1 game, which is going to be pretty tough to do given that you need 3 auras for that. I don't even know what auras are in the set. And finally, the perfect shot. This is the one that I'm most excited for. Trigger Tywakeen's card draw with no untapped lands and no floating mana. The perfect shot. Now, be sure that you take screen caps of those, or if you do it at pre-release or in paper, take a picture of the board state. Your opponent won't mind. Just tell them that you're getting some free packs by doing it. Now, without further ado, let's jam some Vintage Cube. All right, let's get into it. We are on the draw. Unfortunate, but let's see what we can do here. 2-lander, yeah. This looks like something. I got a Solitude in hand, a Stern Scolding. This is fine. Gonna get to play Magda on turn 2 and all that. No possible play. Yield all. Oh, I guess I can flash in Solitude. I do have a possible play. Fetching on your end step, huh? They fetched out Naya. Yeah. Shock myself, leave up the Stern Scolding. That's why I put it in the deck, right? Naya Black. Again, that's why I put it in the deck. Get that thing out of here. Here we're going to go for the Magda and hope with that draw that we're going to get to land a turn 3 Palace Jailer. Because that would be gnarly. Turn 3 Palace Jailer taking their one thing away if they have something on this turn. Just play like a 3-drop creature. Discard your hand and investigate 3 times. That is sick. What the heck is this card? I haven't seen this before. Discarding Hogak. Uh-oh. They've got the Gak? This thing is Menace and Haste? Alright, hold on. What's happening here? So that you can delve and convoke it. And they can cast it from the grave. 7. 1, 2, 4. They have enough, but hold on. They have an Anger in their graveyard? This is gnarly. Alright. I think I'm going to Palace Jailer their Interpreter. Because they have pitched their whole hand. And then eventually I'll leave up Solitude for their Hogak. Because Hogak, that thing needs to die for good. I don't mind taking the 5 here. And they have no cards in hand. What are they going to do? Why didn't they play the Hogak? I guess because they wanted to attack, and exiling the Anger would make it so their stuff couldn't attack. Interesting. Alright, well. Smack with a Magda. Get our treasure. A lot of cards make tap treasures nowadays. Good thing Magda is not one of them. Palace Jailer. Take that thing. Become the Monarch. And now, unless they have a way to put some cards into the graveyard, I don't see a way for them to attack with the Hasty Hogak thanks to Anger. Wow, this is a cool deck, though. It's sort of like a Jund Hogak deck. I didn't know Hogak was in the cube. Shallow Grave. Okay. I was just saying I don't see a way for them to attack with a Hasty Hogak, but they did find one. Now, the Gak. Shallow Grave has them exile at the beginning of the next end step. I'm basically just avoiding taking 8 here. I think I can just take 8. They don't have a way to sacrifice it. I think I'm just going to take the damage. I mean, maybe this is a terrible idea. Maybe they have bolts. They get to be the Monarch, but I guess I should have exiled it. Whatever. Wait, what? They did it again. Okay, they got a lot of stuff now. Ancestral, okay. That's gonna get us out of this mess. Play that guy. get rid of that guy. Well, they can just crack clues into playing it again, I guess, but let's just get rid of him. They can't play it, though. They don't have the mana. Go Staff of the Storyteller. And then this will trigger off of creature tokens, not Magda tokens. Probably going to play the Mother of Runes here. Yeah, this works. All right, in hindsight, should have solituded the GAC. They got the Monarchy. They got their thing back. They made 8. That's pretty good. But with Mom, I have a 1-turn window where I'm at risk here. But, ooh, Forager. I was hoping to draw a white card for the Solitude, but next turn I'm going to hit a land probably. I can just leave up Solitude for the rest of the game, and hopefully they just can't do anything for the rest of the game. They have 3 lands, 8 clues. W6. Interesting. They can get back a... They get Windswept Teeth. If they do that, they shuffle away their guy. Their guy is gone now. Crack a clue. Yep. 4th Aerlingus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can hit for 10 here. That's not enough. I'm not going to get probe. That doesn't seem smart. Try to hit a land off of Inti. Let's see what they got in hand. I'm looking to delve away a Forager here. They've got Crucible of Worlds with a Renin 6. Okay. I think I can just ignore this. They can keep getting back to Windswept Teeth, yes, but they have a Forest and a Crucible. Attacking this, they just play Crucible and have the same effect. Play an island. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I can leave up double white. Doesn't really do anything for me. I could activate the Staff. Let's activate the Staff now. Why not? Volcanic. Okay. I'm going to go to combat here. I'm going to leave back the Mom. It's just good practice. Got a treasure. I'm going to go for a big hit next turn. Do I want a mental note? No. 1, 2, 3, 4. Guess if I'd paid the life, I could have done everything. I'd rather have the Inti or the Forager. No, I'd rather have the Forager. Then I can Ancestral myself again. That's kind of sick. Guess I could mental note first. And then just play the Forager off the treasure. Mystical Tutor. Yeah, I don't care about that. Blue. Let's do Oust, Ancestral, Get Probe, Mystical. 1, 2. And I have Solitude up. Because their creatures do have haste right now. But I have a Mom, a Forager, a Solitude. Feel good about this. And I draw swords with the planes up. Worked out perfectly. See, I knew not blocking that thing would work out. I didn't. I shouldn't have done that. I should have blocked it. Cracking a clue. Yeah, I feel good about this. This is not the sort of setup that can beat a 4th Aerlingus next turn. You got it. W6. We're just ignoring this W6 at this point. They're not going to get to live long enough to -7 it. Yeah, they're cracking a clue. Opponent, you're really going to let the Ancestral again? No, they're not. That would have been very kind of them. I don't have any graveyard hate, really. I'm not that afraid of Hogak. I have ways to exile. I do not have any lands in hand, though. Oliphant, unfortunately, not a true fetch land. And even if it was, I would not keep this. Okay. Swords feels like it's pretty important in this matchup. Thought Scour, not necessarily. Definitely keeping this. I could bottom a land and just hope Magda starts getting through. But then I'm just kind of hoping to hit lands off my Thought Scour and Git Probe. Let's just Thought Scour. We don't have any of our Delve cards in hand anyway. Too bad I don't have a blue-white land to leave up here. Huh. I'm not too worried about my life total here. I'm not a coward. What do you got? They're going to do the Carnage Interpreter thing again. Pitching a Vengevine. They can Fauna Shaman to go get the Hogak. Interesting. So what do I care about more here? Swordsing. They have a Shallow Grave too. Swords is going to be good this game. The question is, what do I hit with it? Yep, you got Survival of the Fittest. They top decked that Blooming Marsh. Forager. Okay, so here they're going to get to go Carnage Interpreter, pitching all this stuff. Unless they, well, actually what they'll likely do is tutor out Hogak first, probably pitching Fauna Shaman. They could pitch Venvine. I don't really know what they're going to do here. I don't think it matters what I do too much besides playing the Magda. I don't see myself dying to a giant graveyard hasting thing this turn, so... Next turn is going to involve Swordsing something or other. Man, this would be a great matchup for me to have Lion Sash. If I had a Lion Sash, this would be a feast of the graveyard. Or like a Rest in Peace or something, or a Leyline, or... Blazing Rootwalla. Oh man, their deck is awesome. I like whatever this is. This was not in Vintage Cube last time, this Vector specifically. This is some gas right here. So they're going to get to Vengevine after playing the Blazing Rootwalla, and they have a land drop, right? Or no, don't they? Hollow one. Yeah, this is cool. I approve of whatever this nonsense is. They can't cast another card this turn, can they? No, they cycled and discarded 2 cards? I guess so. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Solitude. Oh, that's going to be a good thing too. All right. This is, I think, just... Man. Next turn I can go for Magda attack Solitude, or if I attack with Magda now, then I'm guaranteed Solitude next turn. I'm a little worried about Gak coming down. Eventually I'll get to play the Forager. I think the most efficient way to do this is to smack the Hollow one now. I hate using swords on Hollow one, but this lets me attack with Magda this turn. And I can't have a turn where I simply do nothing. And I'm certainly not chump blocking Vengevine. So this guarantees that next turn I get to just play a Solitude. And then, or, depending on the context of the turn, yeah, this is okay. I don't mind losing my Magda. What are they going to do? Shallow Grave back Blazing Rootwalla? Come on. Get real. Depending on the context in this next turn, I could Ethereal Forager. They're probably getting Hogak here. I'd be shocked if they got anything that wasn't Hogak. But then again, this deck has done nothing but surprise me. Anger. So they're going to go Carnage Interpreter, Anger to attack with their billion things. Seems good. Yeah, they pitched at getting a Birds. Their Birds has haste. That's cool. Yeah. So they pitched Fauna Shaman. They played Forest. They played Vengevine. Birds. Anger's in the grave. So their hand is Shallow Grave, Carnage Interpreter, and something else. I do not think this is a Bolt the Birds type of deal. All right. How safe do we want to play it here? If I can get this Forager online... Yeah, that's going to be pretty good. Yeah, I think I need to. And then I can attack Swords next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I don't need to exile the Magda. Exile swords, get probe. Saving the Magda for something else, because here I'm just going to play the DRC. And Magda in the grave is good for DRC. Not blocking the Vengevine here. I might use DRC to chump block the Vengevine. Definitely not blocking with Forger. If Forger gets to attack, I get to sword something, which is obviously really good. What are you doing? 4 mana. Natural order. Uh-oh. Their stuff has haste. What's their scariest green thing? Prime time. This doesn't kill me, but this is really good. Oh, Bazaar of Baghdad. Yeah, they got a deck here. I am indeed going to be chumping with the DRC. Next turn, I do get to exile both their stuff. This is free cast it, right? No, it just returns it? That's not how I thought that worked. Why doesn't it cast it? Oh. Okay. So this is going to be a little more rough than I thought. This is fine. This is fine. It's going to be a bit messy, but this is fine. Return swords to my hand. This is going to involve Solitude coming down, exile in the prime time, and then blocking the Vengevine, which is not really the best thing to do with a Vengevine. You'd prefer to exile it. They're pitching a Hogak. Okay, they may have me here. I have a funny feeling they're not going to exile their anger to the Hogak. Questing Beast. Man, green-red graveyard hasters, huh? Cool deck. Would really use a Scavenging Ooze right now. Shallow Grave, yep. Is there a way out of this? At this point, I'm just seeing some more cards off of them. They have Flash. Fast Bond. Flash in. What are they flashing? Guess we haven't really seen a good flash thing yet. All right, well, I haven't shown them Solitude, and I'd like to not, so no point in playing that one out. No graveyard stuff, right? Wrathing against this deck, is that useful? Time Spiral against this deck. That's interesting. I think I need to go a little faster than that, though. It's just not what my deck is capable of. All right. 2 lands, turn 1 Ancestral. That is a keep. The problem with this Ancestral, we really love like a Mox or any sort of fast mana. Any Mox, any 0 mana artifact that taps, we would have put it in this deck. Now, am I actually going turn 1 Ancestral? Turn 2, I'm just playing Magda, right? Yeah, probably still good enough. Oust will be good here. And maybe I can Ancestral into some more 1 mana interaction. Yep. This is why we play Magic, folks. Would have been nice to Stern Scolding that. But whatever. Mystical. Don't really need that anymore. Magda. We're just going as big on mana as we can here. Next turn, if we could exile like Hogak or something with Elite Spellbinder, that would be pretty nice. Fauna Shaman. Yeah. Might end up ousting that depending on what we see with Elite Spellbinder. I think before anything, ooh, 4th. We can't do it this early. No, we need to spellbind here. Now, ideally, they just trade Fauna Shaman for the Magda. No. That would have solved a problem that we had. Okay. Spellbinder. What are you working with? What do you got? Okay. So what are they going to do? They're going to Fauna Shaman. If I take their Blazing Rootwalla, their deck kind of shuts off a bit, right? They can loam a bunch, but okay. What if I take loam? If I take loam and then oust their Fauna Shaman, that also sort of shuts their deck down. But would I like to just strand Hollow One in Exile basically forever? That also kind of shuts their deck down. Do I care about them loaming? Give it to your hand. Not really. Okay, I think X on the Fauna Shaman is good here. We want to just mess up their game plan as much as possible. And I think getting rid of the Fauna Shaman is going to do that. Stranding Hollow One in Exile for good. They can play a Blazing Rootwalla. I don't care. Let's just get that thing out of here. At least for a couple turns, which is, with a 4th Aerlingus, we're only going to need a couple turns. So they played Yavimaya. Like, what do they do here? Cast Loam for 0. Their Hollow One is gone. They can play a Rootwalla. They draw. Yeah, they're just casting Loam. Yep. That is a thing that you can do with Life from the Loam. And they're casting Blazing Rootwalla. I mean, they can trade it for Magda, but it's the only thing with power here. Do I just 4th? Yeah. I just 4th. We got to get this game over with before they start getting clever. Now here, I am going to leave one back. They can trade the Rootwalla for my Magda, and in which case they can't steal the Monarchy back from me. And they did choose to not. What am I doing here? Anything? Nope. Maybe I even top deck Swords or something. Nope, just plains. I can end step Mystical. They dredged Fauna Shaman. No. What they get? Did they dredge there? Oh yeah, right. They already had the Fauna Shaman on top of their deck. Fauna Shaman, Forest Flash. So I can probably just Mystical for like Swords or something. If they try to do some wacky... no wacky thing necessary. Got him.